Well, hey folks, and welcome to Solar Cabin Channel. Did that get your attention? It sure got mine the first time I watched that. What you're seeing there are some lithium batteries that are used for e-bikes, electric scooters, and those types of batteries that have exploded, sent sparks everywhere, and set fire to a lot of things in those rooms. Unfortunately, that is becoming a lot more common. It is still rare, but it is becoming a lot more common because a lot more people are buying e-bikes, buying electric scooters, and using batteries, maybe not using them correctly or not charging them correctly. So what I'm going to be talking about in this video is hopefully a way to make it a little bit safer for you to charge and store your e-bike batteries or your electric scooter batteries. Now this is a bag that is made by FLA SLD, and it says it is a Flame Shield Warrior. Now, I got this off Amazon, and I did quite a bit of research on different bags and types of materials, fireproofing and things like that. Now, this bag is listed as being fireproof and explosion proof. Now, that is their statements, not mine, and I want to make clear that in an explosion, any bag may not hold up, okay? But for fire protection, I think that the material that they're using in this bag is probably about the best that you're going to find on the market. All right, this is using a material, I'll tell you what it is. It says it has a temperature resistance of 1100 degrees Fahrenheit with an instantaneous temperature up to 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. Electric batteries or e-bike batteries can generate instant temperatures up to about 2000 degrees, but they are generally burn at right around 650 degrees, right around there. The bag is designed for e-bike batteries, and this is a large one here. And this is made with an outer layer of liquid silicone fireproof fabric. The outside is if you can see it, it is a silicone fireproof fabric on the outside. Now, I'll explain why that's important too. It's fireproof on the outside. Then it has a middle non-woven fireproof insulation. And then the interior fiber, or the interior layer fiber, is a fiberglass fabric. Fiberglass, as most people know, is a fireproof material that can withstand a lot of hot temperature against it, okay? So this has 3 layers to this bag. All right, and this is the large bag, again, made by FLA SLD. Now, they carry 2 different sizes of bag. Now, I'll explain why I got this long one here, right here. Because there are different types of batteries for e-bikes, scooters. They come in different sizes. These are 2 common sizes. And I'll show you this in just a second. I'm going to set this out of the way for a minute. These are 2 common sizes of batteries. Now, this is from my Ariel X Rider 52 volt, 18 amp hour bike. And I love this bike. Ride it all the time. Look at that handsome guy. This is the battery that I needed the bag for because it's very difficult to find any type of bag that fits these long batteries. These are about 18, 19 inches long, and so they may not fit in a shorter bag. The other common type of battery, which you probably see a lot more of, is this type of battery here. This is off my Tomo Free e-bike. And this is a 48 volt, 18 amp hour battery. It is also a very common size battery for a lot of e-bikes. They also make 36 volts. They may make different sizes of batteries. This one's about 14 inches long. It could fit in a smaller case. So this is the 2 common types of batteries here. These have a lot of single cell batteries that are put together inside these, so you understand how they are. And as long as you take good care of them, the risk of them catching fire or exploding is actually very low. So what causes e-bike batteries to catch fire or explode? So I'm going to talk about that. What commonly causes a fire of a e-bike battery or scooter battery, or for it to explode, is using a battery that has been damaged or is swelled up, that is showing internal damage. If you ever have a battery that appears to be damaged, has cracks in the case, has a swelled shell on it, don't use that battery. Don't use it on your e-bike. Don't charge it up, and don't store it for later, okay? Best thing to do is you need to get it out of your house. I would suggest maybe taking it to the fire department, or contact your disposal network that's in your area and ask them, hey, where do I dispose of an e-bike battery? You're going to need a new e-bike battery. So again, number one, never use, charge, or store a battery that's damaged or swollen, okay? You want to get in the habit because you're using your e-bike, is when you take your battery off to charge it, before you put it on the charger, look at it. Inspect it. Make sure that it is still in good shape, because when you're riding your e-bikes, there's a real chance that maybe you hit a bump real hard. You might have cracked the shell. Maybe you tipped your bike over by accident. And so that sort of can damage the battery. And if you're trying to charge up a damaged battery, there's a real possibility that one of those cells in there, and it only takes one, if one cell is damaged, swollen, or broken, it can explode inside and set all of the other batteries that contain lithium inside on fire, and then they can explode. Number two is only use a manufacturer's recommended charger and battery. Now, this is a battery that is made specifically for the aerial rider. This battery is a kind of a generic battery that is used in a lot of different e-bikes. Problem is, they are not all the same amps and watts. So you need to make sure that you're using the battery that is recommended for your e-bike, and you need to make sure that you're using the correct charger. So here I have two chargers, and you can see just from looking at the top, it'd be difficult to tell which one is which. This one is a 52 18 amp hour battery. It only goes with the aerial rider. This one is a 48 volt 18 amp hour charger that only goes with the Tomo Free. If I was to happen to mix those up and get them on the wrong batteries, there's a real high likelihood that I could damage the batteries for sure, and possibly set them on fire or cause an explosion. So if you're using more than one charger, make sure you mark them so you know which one goes for which, and only use the recommended charger that goes with the e-bike and the e-bike battery that comes with the e-bike. Make sure that you're getting the correct charger and the correct battery that is recommended by the e-bike manufacturer. If you're using one that is from the black market, that is a rebranded generic battery that isn't UL listed, you're taking a real chance using that on your e-bike, that it may not be the best manufactured battery and could set on fire. Number three, never charge a battery unattended or overnight. Most battery fires happen because a battery was either left on the charger. Most of the time, the fires and explosions happen when they are on the charger. It rarely happens when they're just sitting stored, okay? It happens when they're on the charger, and in most cases, it happens when they have reached full and then stayed on the charger because they were left unattended, okay? Don't leave them unattended. Don't charge them overnight. Always, when you're charging, pay attention. Do it when you're there. Make sure that you're watching the battery. If it shows any signs of smoking, swelling, or it gets real hot, take it off, unplug it and get it off the charger immediately. And as soon as it cools down enough, you might want to get it outside to make sure that it's not going to go thermal on you. And be careful, and then check it, inspect it, make sure that it's not damaged or something like that that's causing a problem. Batteries, when they're charging, will get somewhat warm, but they shouldn't get so hot that you can't touch them or something like that, okay? Never charge a very hot or cold battery. If your battery is extremely cold or extremely hot, there's more chance for it to cause what's called a thermal runaway inside one of the cells, and one of those cells will set the rest of them on fire. So if you've been outside riding really hard, your battery is going to be very hot. Give it some time to cool down. Now, this is very important, for I know a lot of guys out there are using e-bikes for deliveries, and they're doing what we call hot swapping. They have more than one battery like this. They take the battery when it gets low, and they immediately take it in, they put it on the charger, take the other one out and put it on the e-bike so they can keep doing their deliveries. Okay, I understand that, but you're taking a big risk because that battery is not having time to cool down in between. Batteries should be charged when they're at room temperature, Okay, if they're very hot coming off an e-bike or even being out in the sun, you shouldn't recharge them until they've cooled down to room temperature. Same thing if they're very cold and you've left your e-bike outside, it's wintertime or something like that, the battery's really cold, like down towards the freezing level, don't charge it back up until you warm it back up to room temperature. If you do that, you'll save yourself a lot of problems and grief with a battery. Okay. Do not charge batteries near flammable materials or fluids. Now that one should be kind of obvious. When you're charging your batteries up, don't put them next to bedding. Don't put them next to curtains. Don't set them on your couch. Okay? Those are flammable materials. If they're in your garage, don't put them next to cans of gas. Also, don't charge them next to other batteries. Okay? Because these batteries can catch fire from these batteries. When they explode, they can catch fire. Then you got multiple batteries on fire. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Don't charge them next to any flammable materials or fluids. Do not overcharge or leave batteries on the charger after full. If you leave your battery on the charger, what happens if it is a very well-made and well-manufactured battery, it has a battery management system in it, and the charger has a controller that should recognize when the battery is full, and then it should start slowly trickling that so that it doesn't overcharge the battery. But what happens is sometimes one cell in here may be lower than the rest. This is called an out-of-balance battery. The charger may not recognize that the rest of the cells are full, and it will try to keep pumping in power to bring that up, that one battery that may have went bad, up to the same level, and it overcharges the battery, overheats it, and then you have a runaway thermal experience. Okay? And so when the battery, which it should have some type of light, it'll have a light on the charger, probably also has a light on the battery. You should watch that, monitor it. That's why you want to be monitoring when you're charging up. As soon as it shows full, take it off. Don't leave it on there. If you have to leave it on for a little while, if you're balancing a battery, something like that, make sure that you're monitoring the heat, touching your battery to make sure it doesn't get really hot. And then as soon as you balanced it, take it off of the charger. Do not store batteries on the charger, okay? And unplug them as soon as they're charged up. So that means no overnight charging. Do not put your battery, I know this is a common practice. Guys get home, they're tired from work, they put their battery on the charger, they fall asleep, they don't wake up till the next morning. It's been sitting there now for 12 hours or longer on the charger. That's when a lot of these batteries are catching fire, folks, is because people are leaving them on the charger way too long, longer past the point where they're already charged up. If you are storing a battery, charge it at only 50% full. Now, there comes times like it's wintertime here. I'm not riding my e-bikes that much, so I'm storing these two batteries pretty much. All right? When I store them, I only charge them up to about 50%. Then you can store them, and there's less chance that they could go into a thermal runaway if you have a bad cell in the battery. So charge them up to 50% and then just leave them. Don't charge them up to 100%. Don't drain them all the way down and store them. Charge them up to about 50%. Then you'll have less chance of a battery in storage. Really rare situation, but you would have a less chance of a battery in storage ever catching on fire. And finally, follow the e-bike manufacturer's recommendations for your e-bike. Now, I am not a fire expert. I'm not an e-bike expert. I'm not an engineer. I'm just a guy that loves to ride e-bikes. I want to make sure everybody stays safe. So any information I give you here, make sure that you are following the information that your manufacturer for your e-bike battery and charger is telling you what to do, and follow the manufacturer's recommendations. Okay, so let's talk about this bag some more. Now, this bag is designed for the longer batteries, but it will also work for the shorter batteries. Now, this is a reflective stripe. I've talked about the material. This is a reflective stripe so that you could find this, because if you're using it in storage or something like that, batteries are expensive. You may have a fire in your house that doesn't have anything to do with your battery, and you want to get your battery out of the house, so it has a reflective stripe here. So if you was in there with a flashlight, you could see it and maybe save your battery and get it out of the house. Here, it has a Velcro cover, or a Velcro flap over the front. And then it has zipper. It has two zippers that go around, and this is convenient because you're going to need to put your cord in probably through the zipper, because there are no charging ports on this bag. This fits the Ariel X Rider battery really well, okay, with just a little bit of room around it. And it's important to have room. That's what makes them actually explosion resistant, is because when they explode, those gases will expel out, boom, and they won't spread out from inside the bag. Now, so you want a little room in there. Don't charge more than one battery at a time in a bag like this. One battery, one bag, okay? And then you can zip this up to wherever your port is on your battery. You can zip these around, and you want to zip them around and just leave a space where you're going to put your cord through for your controller, which has the plug that goes into your battery. You're going to slip that in the bag through where the zippers are, and then seal this down, this Velcro down. Now, that battery is sealed up inside there. The zippers are very strong on this bag. All of the stitching seems very well made on this bag. It should handle fire from the outside, because like I said, you could have a fire in your house, so it should handle fire from the outside, fire from the inside, and you see how powerful the fires are on those batteries. And should protect, as long as you put this on a non-flammable surface. If you have wood floors or something like that, that gives you a little bit of extra protection, or put it on a tile floor or a cement floor, something like that. Don't put it next to carpet. Don't put it next to your drapes. Don't put it next to your bedding. Don't put it underneath your bed. Don't put it next to any flammable liquids. And this should contain the fires, and so that it doesn't spread. And what happens with, as you've seen in that video, what happens is sparks shoot out. The sparks shoot out and they catch the drapery and the carpet and the furniture on fire. This should contain the sparks. It should minimize the explosion power, and it might help reduce the smoke that gets out. Now, that's another danger that you need to be aware of. Along with fire and explosion, lithium batteries can release a toxic smoke. So if you do have a fire on one of these, be aware of that. Don't go rushing in, because that toxic smoke could cause you to suffocate and fall down, and then you're in serious trouble. Get out, let it clear out, air out the house or whatever if necessary. Call the fire department if you need to. And you should have a fire extinguisher. I've talked about in other videos about always having a fire extinguisher, smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. A type A, B, or C fire extinguisher. Type B is the one that is used for fluids. Lithium is a fluid. That's the type of fire extinguisher you'd want to use. Now, this bag will also work. Now, this bag will also work for the this generic Tomo-free 48 volt 18 amp hour battery. Okay, it does fit in there just fine, and actually has a lot more room around it than the other battery, and that's fine. And hopefully, I will never have to find out if this bag stands up and does what it says it will. But I think, looking at all the reviews, looking at the information that I've researched on the materials they're using, I think it's definitely better than nothing. And I think it would probably protect you in the event of a battery fire or explosion. And hopefully we won't have to find out. All right, folks, I hope you like this video. Have a great day.